Okay, Dave. Well, thanks for talking to us. Thanks for joining us ahead of what looks to be a lovely weekend in terms of a fixture coming up. More on that in a moment or two's time. But a good feeling come out of Tuesday night. I think that your boys showed exactly what you know they've got. Good attitude, good application, and got a good result as well.
Yeah, I think the performance on Saturday deserved a victory, but we didn't get that. So we knew that we weren't a million miles off, but then it's still, when you lose them kind of games, it is damaging. So we had to make sure we responded against a good Accrington team. They were a good team. And like I said after the game, we thoroughly deserved the victory, and I thought we played well. So, we've got to do that more often, and we've got to get the right result more often as well. So it's a good game tomorrow. So all to play for, if you like.
When you just analyse it, Dave, as all managers say, nothing's done in end of February, March, or even April. But when you look at your division, I think there's over half of the clubs still looking up. Half of the table, and probably a couple more still looking upwards.
Yeah, you'd probably. I don't think it's controversial to say the top half are looking towards the top and the bottom half are looking towards the bottom, Graham. I think you're not being controversial in saying that, mate.
What I try to say is there's a lot of teams and a lot of clubs still involved in the hopes that they're going to make the top 6 or 7.
Yeah, of course. I think, and it is a tight division. We've said it for long enough now that everyone can beat everyone in this division. There's one or two more than 3 or 4 good teams, real good teams, and after that you go. There's probably 15 teams that are very similar, and then probably another 5, 6, 7 that probably aren't that strong. So we know that I think we're in that 15, and we've got to make sure we get as high up the table as we can, and that's where we're at.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the game that's coming up, because we know, fingers crossed, the roadmap's been put out and the fans will hopefully be back. Might be in the last week or so of the later on in the playoffs or even the Premier League, but definitely, fingers crossed, everything's going to be right for the start of next season. This would have been one, wouldn't it, Dave? That really had the Alexander Stadium buzzing. But I think it still has that feel to it. Crewe v Sunderland, what a great, tasty game it is.
Yeah, I think we all wish the fans were here. 2,000 Mackhams, coming down the M1 or the M6, whichever way they come, and cheering on the team, and little old Crewe with their home fans. It'd have made it a real good atmosphere, and I'm sure it's not the only club that feels like that, with such a prestigious club and such a well-supported club as Sunderland coming to town. So, yeah, that's a disappointment. But then, I suppose we're grateful that football's been played throughout this. We can't lose sight of the fact that the government understood that football was a major lubricant, if you like, for the mental health of every individual, or the vast majority of individuals, because it's the nation's sport, and we're grateful for that. So on one hand, it's a disappointment that there's nobody in the ground. On the other hand, we're relieved that the game's going ahead, because it could have been, we could be like National League North and South have recently done, never mind at the beginning of the season. So, we'd rather have that atmosphere, but listen, it's still Crewe v Sunderland. It's still a good game. Still whets the appetite, and one we're all looking forward to.
You give them respect, not too much respect, but as always, it's down to how you are and how you perform. That's the important thing.
Yeah, of course. We didn't perform up there, that's for sure. It was one of our worst performances. There's not been that many, but that was one of them. And we've got to do better than what we showed. It's as simple as that. Because if we don't, then Sunderland are a good team. That they're a big historic club. They've just been taken over by a billionaire. They had resources coming out their ears beforehand. They've got resources coming out their ears and their eyeballs now. So, that's not a criticism. That's just a statement. So I don't want people to jump on the fact that I'm bleating on about them having lots of money. That's not the case. But it's 11 men against 11 men, and we've got to match anything that they throw at us and be better than them in areas that we feel we can be better than them. So that's the challenge. That's always the challenge for us because everyone's got more money than us. So that's the challenge every week. That doesn't change. That's a constant for us. So we're quite happy being in that position. We're used to that position. So that doesn't change anything really.
Well, it is a tasty fixture. There's no doubt about that. There's a bit of extra spice in your home dressing room as well, because you've got two Middlesbrough boys in there as well. And you've got Mikael Mandron, who we'll talk a bit more about in a moment or two's time, in your team as well. So there's a bit of extra spice there for them lads.
Yeah, of course. There's always, you could have said that about Omar against Accrington on Tuesday. There's all players generally have history or links, so-and-so's dad was born there, or, our club doctor is a Sunderland fan, for example. So we're all going to check the docs, what he's got under his shirt and his suit shirt tomorrow to make sure he ain't got a red and white striped shirt on, for example. And I'm sure Austin, the doc, he'll, I'm sure he'll have allegiance with the Crew Alex lads rather than the hometown, but he might upset his mum if we win. So that's where we're at. There's always that.
Yeah, make sure he doesn't change the routine dinner time food for the players tomorrow, Dave. Make sure they have the right thing. Talking Mikael Mandron now, of course, because he signed his contract. It was announced, of course, on Tuesday after that win against Accrington. We've spoken to him. He's really pleased that it's all done and pleased how it's got done so early, because he feels as though there's a lot more to come. But for you as his manager, what's made you want to sign him again?
I think first and foremost, he's a good bloke. I nearly swore then. we don't want idiots at this football club. We don't, and he's not one. He's coachable. He's the right profile. He's the right character. It just so happens that he's a good footballer, and we've got to get even more out of him. When he first come, I don't think it's too disrespectful to say that he was just used to heading it. So we've had to teach him lots of other things, and obviously he's a footballer. He knows how to use his feet, but really making him understand that that's what's going to make him better, and using his brain. And he's come on leaps and bounds, and he's got even more. He's got even more to come. Because like I say, he's coachable. He's 6'3". He can run like a racehorse. He can take a goal. Has he got to improve? Yes, he has. Can he improve? He will, because he works hard. And like I say, he takes on board what you're saying. So, I think one of the biggest reasons he's signed his contract, because he feels as though he's going to improve with us. And one of the reasons we wanted him is because we feel as though he's going to improve with us. So when you come at it from a mutual standpoint, that's sort of 3/4 of the battle. And I think Mika would be the first to admit that. Could he go and play in the Championship right now? Possibly. Would it help if he had even more coaching, even more development in him? Yeah. That's the bottom line, if you like. And we've got to put that into him. And he's, as he's already shown, he's receptive to that. And we've got to make sure that we do that, because if we do it, he'll score more goals for us. And that's the bottom line, really.
It must be a great feeling for you as well that, you can still keep them players, that the football club is still an attractive place, that, at the end of the day, as you've already mentioned in your interview, you're nowhere near the big players in the league, and he could have probably gone and earned more money elsewhere, but he stayed at the football club to try and improve his career. And that's good for a manager when he comes into that recruitment drive in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, it's because, we treat people properly. We treat them fairly, and we improve them as footballers. Does that mean we can pay them fortunes every week? It doesn't. And if they choose money, they choose money. And we've lost out on lots and lots and lots and lots of players because of money. That's just how the world works, But then there's some players that do see a bigger picture and go, actually, if I spend some more time here, if I go and sign there, I'll become a better player, so I can earn more money. And that's our USP. You know, we will promise to develop players. We will promise to make you better as a player. You know, we don't just put a possession session on and just it's a time filler, then have a little game and then go home. We can't do that. We can't do that. We wouldn't do that even if we had the biggest budget in the league. But we can't do that. What we will do is we will improve you as a footballer. We will make you a better footballer, period. You know, and if people buy into that, it's actually harder to get them to come in, because I'm pretty certain most managers will say that. You know, but once, you know, like Mikael last summer and Omar, they when I say take the bait, you know, I don't mean that in a callous way or an underhand way. Then when they come in and they go, actually, this is an unbelievable coaching place. This is an unbelievable place to learn your craft. You know, one or two of them have said, I wish I was here 10 years ago. And I felt the same as a player. So we have to do that because, like I said, we can't pay the most money, which is fine. That's not a, you know, if we pay the most money, then this club would go under, and nobody wants that. So, you know, that's our USP, and we've got to make sure that we keep our end of the bargain up, whether it's re-signing someone or signing someone from outside, because we will. That's how we attract the players.
Just one final point. You got Donovan Daniels through that 90 minutes on Tuesday night. Good to see him back, because he shows what an addition he was when you signed him in the summer. He must be delighted to get the 90 minutes under his belt, and you must be delighted to have him now as well.
Yeah, no, like I say, he's played some in-house games and done plenty of work, and he's played 2 or 3 23 games. So yeah, it's important to get 90 minutes in the first team environment under his belt, and we'll see how he is going into the next, you know, tomorrow, and you know, and then next week.